What's up, my friends? Mr. Gallows, of course. Welcome back to another vlog. And for today's vlog, I just wanted to talk about politics once again. No, guys, I'm just kidding. It's not a political video today. Shocker, I know, right? But no, what I wanted to talk about today is something that I was originally thinking about posting over on my main channel, which does Star Wars theory, but I figured I'd post it here anyway because it's, it's kind of like a vlog style video, so I might as well post it here, and I'm sure it'll get around to a lot of people. Basically, what I want to talk about today was The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is a famous Star Wars movie now, or infamous, depending on how you look at it. A lot of people hate The Last Jedi, and for good reason. I'm one of the people that is not on the side of The Last Jedi, and I mean, I'm still with Disney. I'm still following the franchise through Episode 9, but did I hate The Last Jedi? Yes, I did. I absolutely hated the movie. And the thing that I want to convey to everybody today is that, look, guys, a popular argument out there is that trolls ruin The Last Jedi. And I just have to say that I'm really, really sick of hearing this argument. And I really, I should start off the video by saying, I'm not a Last Jedi hater. I'm not a Star Wars hater. I don't, I have no videos on my channel dedicated to hating on Star Wars. I think, the most recent video I had was like 5 things I disliked about Star Wars Celebration, but that was just constructive criticism. I'm not one of these people that's dedicated to hating The Last Jedi, that's dedicated to hating Star Wars. But I did want to try to make something a little bit more clear to people. And that is that, again, this popular belief that trolls ruin The Last Jedi. Trolls didn't ruin The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is a poorly made film. And again, guys, I've talked about this in a couple of circles before, The Last Jedi is a poorly made film. It has nothing to do with opinion. We're not talking about opinion at all. This has nothing to do with opinion. The film is poorly made. And I think that the problem is that the younger generation of Star Wars fans, they're more fans of The Last Jedi, and the older generation is far less fans of The Last Jedi. And the problem is that's having to do a lot with how the entertainment society as a whole has changed, is that people don't care about the story of the film and the actual aspects and the components of the film anymore. It's all about eye candy, right? And The Last Jedi is a beautiful film. Rian Johnson did a magnificent job with that film, but only in 2 areas. Magnificent directing and fantastic cinematography. And, Mahler said this in his video about The Last Jedi. He was the first one to say this initially, and I wholeheartedly agree with him, which is, I would hire Rian Johnson in a minute to be my director or to be my cinematographer, but I would never let him touch one of my scripts. And that's what the problem with the movie is, that no one seems to be paying attention to the story. Because if you pay attention to the story, you'll see that it's filled with nonsensical situations, poor characters, poor character development, bad screenwriting, bad jokes, huge plot holes. I mean, I could go on, there's a list we can go down. And we all, as The Last Jedi kind of experiencers, we all generally agree, even though, we have our differences in opinion about whether we should hate on the movie or not, we all generally agree that the film is full of flaws. Well, guys, if you agree that the film is full of flaws, that's where the argument stops. You see what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with opinion. It's a poorly made film. And, well, while I don't spend my time hating on Star Wars, and I don't watch YouTubers who hate on The Last Jedi, you have to understand their side of things, which is that the story for this movie was so personally bad for them, and not just personally bad, it's universally bad, right? And like, we couldn't believe the types of stories, the story that we were seeing unfold before us on screen, that this is what they were giving us for a story. Now, of course, we haven't seen Episode 9 yet. Episode 9 could vastly, dramatically change everything, but we're not there yet. Right now, we're still in the time of The Last Jedi, and man, people have bad opinions about it, and it's for good reason, too. Because, guys, look, at some point, you need to get over this fact, okay? The Last Jedi is not a good film, nothing to do with opinion. It's a poorly made movie. The movie itself is poorly made. And I think the problem is that people can't see that because they're so focused on the directing and the cinematography, which were great. And yeah, there was a lot of passion put into the movie. but there wasn't a lot of passion put into the actual script, the story, the execution, how everything went down. There was obviously very little thought put into that matter from Rian Johnson based on what J.J. Abrams had set up in The Last Jedi. And now again, I don't follow Star Wars channels that hate on The Last Jedi, but you do have to understand where they're coming from, because these people feel personally deeply troubled because everything that Star Wars has set up for them in the past is now being destroyed with The Last Jedi, and I don't want to hear it, guys. Yes, it is. I don't want to hear this other side of the argument. The trolls destroyed The Last Jedi, the fans destroyed The Last Jedi. No. The fans reacted to a bad film. That's all that's going on here. And why people can't accept it is they just... I guess maybe you guys just can't believe that Star Wars would create a bad movie. I don't know. But I've said this before in my Star Wars videos. It's okay to speak out against your masters, guys. You know, like, you don't have to, follow in line with Disney everywhere they're leading you. It's okay to hate on a film, because The Last Jedi does deserve to be hated on. There were a lot of very, very poor choices made in the film, right? We all agree on that, right? Lots of very, very poor choices, right? Well, that's all the argument you need. That's the argument right there. Why were there poor choices made? Well, because these were people who didn't understand Star Wars, right? That's what happened. Is this was someone who didn't understand what to do with the story of The Force Awakens after The Force Awakens came, and Rian Johnson, it wasn't Rian Johnson's fault, it's really Disney's fault as a whole. Disney tanked this new trilogy. I mean, me personally, right now, I don't really, I don't follow the new trilogy. I don't really like The Force Awakens, definitely don't like The Last Jedi, and I'm mildly interested to see Episode 9 just to see how everything wraps up. Now, I'm a fan of the original trilogy, obviously. I'm a fan of the prequel trilogy, and I love the standalone movies, too. Rogue One and the Solo movie, I thought were great films, right? So that's my canon. But I don't really follow the new trilogy. Why? Well, because they prove with The Last Jedi that Disney has no idea what they're doing with Star Wars. They don't get it. Now, to newer fans, or maybe to fans with less brain cells, these films are great. These films are really, really great film because it's like, oh wow, look at little TIE fighters and X-Wings, and oh, look at all the shiny objects, and oh, look at lightsabers and laser guns, and oh, look at all the shiny objects being held in front of my face. And so people come out of the theater and they're like, oh wow, The Last Jedi was great. Yeah, because it was a beautiful film, right? What does that have to do with the story? Nothing. The story is full of plot holes, nonsensical situations, bad characters, Again, we're going down the list. There's a huge list. I mean, I could sit here for an hour, going into detail about how bad a film. Not that The Last Jedi is bad. The film itself is poorly made. And at some point, you guys have to get over it. At some point, you guys just have to accept it and get over it, okay? It's like, again, this is a problem with the younger fans. The younger fans who are growing up on eye candy movies go into The Last Jedi only focusing on the eye candy. So they're coming out the other side like, oh, why is everybody hating on The Last Jedi? It was such a beautiful film. There was so much passion put into it. Right. What does that have to do with the story? What does that have to do with the plot? How the movie was executed, what's going on, the decisions that they made in this movie. That has nothing to do with opinion. This is a fact about filmmaking. And again, this is coming from someone who's seen thousands and thousands of movies, guys. I mean, I've been watching movies all my life. A lot of people out there, a lot of the younger fans, they haven't seen, there's another video that I made, I know, a few months back or a while, it might have even been like a year ago or so now. I made a film about why age is a big difference when it comes to film critics. And it's not supposed to be an insult to any younger viewers out there, but you guys have to understand that a lot of people in the older generation, the people that don't like The Last Jedi, the reason that we don't like that film is because we are so experienced in movies. We have seen thousands and thousands of films. So The Last Jedi is just the next film to go down this very poor generic path with poor decision making in movies, and now because we've seen a lot of movies, now we can recognize a lot of these flaws. It doesn't mean that we spend our time hating on the movie, right? It just means that we're aware, we're awake. We get it. We say, okay, that's definitely a bad film. And if you guys can come to that basic conclusion, you shouldn't be defending it. It's a bad film. That's where the conversation ends. It stops right there, and it's okay to move forward not liking The Last Jedi. As long as you're not making your money off of hating things, because YouTube is definitely becoming a disease in that respect, is that there are far too many channels that just make their living, make their money, make all their attention off of hating things, and that I don't agree with. But what I also don't agree with is, overlooking the factual evidence that The Last Jedi is a very, very poor film just because you can't stand to lose your opinion. That is a huge problem with society. Another detrimental problem with society today is that people refusing to budge off of their viewpoint because they can't change their opinion. They won't change their opinion. They won't be backed down. They won't be proven wrong. And that's a big point. So that's going to do it for today's video, guys. I just wanted to express that to all of you, that, if you guys are one of the people out there hearing this argument about how trolls or the fans ruin The Last Jedi, I even see some people, adults, writing online news articles about this, saying that trolls ruin The Last Jedi. This is getting far too misconstrued, guys. Far too misconstrued. Stop defending Disney, okay? They made a poor film. They've made a couple of poor films, really universally when it comes to it. Stop defending them. Open your eyes, wake up, realize what is and what isn't, and move on with your life. Okay, guys? So that's going to do it for today's vlog. Make sure you guys leave all your thoughts and opinions down below in the great white void, and I'll see you guys back here for the next vlog very soon. Later.